is not a difficult topic, and some basic things only we need to apply. So today with nothing new in terms of any new concept, we'll solve some more numericals based on whatever formula and concept we have learned in last previous 2 days. And let's see, in case of atomic structure, I somehow feel this particular figure, if you understand this figure, this contains major part of information related to atomic structure. Say emission spectrum, and similar reverse of this is absorption spectrum kind of thing. So stable orbit and Bohr's law. These are the things what we need to know. This topic starts with Bohr's law, and this is the only thing new. And this comes from centripetal force being equal to electrostatic force. And we come R is proportional to N square by mz. We have done some question. I hope all of you understand what it means. R naught is Bohr's radius, which is equal to 0.53 Armstrong. It's a recap of some of the things. And from the two equations, this is one equation, other is circular motion. We get V is proportional to Z by N, or kinetic energy is proportional to Z square by N square. And kinetic energy, potential energy, they are related. So total energy also is proportional to N square by Z square by N square. And energy of electron in particular orbit of hydrogen-like atom is given by this equation. And this is Rydberg constant. In terms of energy equation, Rydberg constant is 13.6 electron volts. And in terms of wavelength, this is expression. And what is the value of R here? 10 to power 7 if it is in meters. Okay. So these are that's all we need to, in terms of formula, these are the only things we need to know. Rest all is making use of the formula. Apart from this, we need to have an understanding what constitute Lyman series, Balmer series, Paschen series. And I hope all of you are clear about how we identify each series. What is the first line? And what is the minimum wavelength for each series? What is the maximum wavelength? Those things is very little bit of understanding of this figure. Okay, so let's go through some numericals. And what I expect today, I'll each question, all of you can try solve on your own. Each question I'll give a minute or two, and all of you can try to answer by yourself. And as soon as you have answer, please raise your hand and tell me also how to solve this question. There's no new teaching today. So orbital electron in the ground state has a magnetic moment of mu1, and this is excited to third excited state. So when we excite, it has to be some energy transfer through some energy they excited. So when orbital, it changes its orbit, its magnetic moment also may change. So what is mu2? How is related to mu1? That's what the question is. And some of you should be able to answer this question. Okay, so Vignesh already has an answer. And I'll ask some of you what basis. There are different ways of solving, and some method is very quick method. So others also, yes, Tejas also an answer, okay. Rest of the people also. And this question can be answered without putting pen to paper. So try both ways. Look at the question and think, how can you answer this question without any calculation? If this question does not require any calculation. Advay, do you have an answer?
No, sir.
Why not? Are you clear how to find an answer or not so clear?
Not clear, sir.
Not clear? Okay. So let's understand one by one. So I'll give a minute more. Hemant, you have understood?
Yes, sir.
Hemant, did you do any calculation,
sir.
Or you can go to answer without any calculation, Hemant?
Ratio. Only ratio.
No, so all these are ratio questions. Perfect. But this is something, they're all ratio kind of questions, and we should be able to answer quite easily. I'm happy to see Akshay. Akshay, did you get an answer?
Yes, sir. Yes,
What
sir.
is your answer, Akshay?
Fourth one, sir.
Fourth one. Very good. Okay, so let me ask some of you. Arij, can you explain how did you? So okay, so I should have got some more answers. I'm surprised only so many only. Okay, other people. Advay is still not clear, na? You are not clear how to find magnetic moment. Dhanshri?
No.
I mean, after he said ratios, I kind of got the answer, but I guess it's better if I get an explanation.
Okay, yeah, understand also. Okay, and some other people also. Jaideep, you don't have an answer yet?
I got it, sir.
You got it, huh? Kartikeya?
Yes, sir.
Kartikeya, tell me how would you solve this question?
Sir, magnetic moment is current into area.
Okay. So one way of solving would be, first of all, let's understand why there is a magnetic moment. The magnetic moment, any charge which goes into orbital motion, it creates a current loop. It is equivalent to current loop, and there's a current loop, there's a magnetic moment. So orbital electron creates a magnetic moment, which is equal to current into area. So that's okay. So we understand how the magnetic moment is created. Magnetic moment, any orbital motion of charged particle creates a magnetic moment. Okay. So what is next step then?
Sir, you find radius 13.6 into z square by n square, and then you
That's
find
one
area.
approach. That's a very lengthy approach. Whenever ratio, we don't go into numbers. That's why I'm telling this one way you can do. We can actually calculate, and we can, based on the velocity, I can calculate current. Current will be equal to E into frequency. After getting current, I have to find magnetic moment will be equal to I into area, which will be equal to E into frequency into pi r square, which is become lengthy process. Is there a better way? How did you solve? Let me ask somebody else up. RH, how did you solve this question?
The magnetic moment to angular momentum ratio.
Perfect. Angular momentum, rather than calculating magnetic moment and angular momentum are related. If we recall that point, it becomes extremely easy. So how do we solve this question? We solve this question. Magnetic moment is related to angular momentum, and angular momentum is related to n value. Hence, I get a relationship between magnetic moment and n value. Let's say whenever ratio question, two parameters involved here. What are two parameters? Magnetic moment and n. So I need to get a kind of proportional relationship between magnetic moment and n. We don't have direct formula, or we don't even have a formula for magnetic moment. But what we can use here, how is magnetic moment related to angular momentum? That is something we must remember. Magnetic moment divided by angular momentum is equal to what? Is equal to Q by 2m. So magnetic moment is directly proportional to angular momentum, and angular momentum is directly proportional to n. So which means magnetic moment is directly proportional to n. Why is angular momentum proportional to n? L value is equal to nh by 2 pi. So this question is magnetic moment is proportional to L, because this ratio remains constant, because Q by m is constant, the ratio remains constant. So Q is proportional to n, directly we have an answer. And when is third excited state? Third excited state means n is equal to 4. So mu1, mu4 by mu1 will be equal to 4 by 1. Very simple. Dhanshri, is this understood?
Yes, sir.
And you should always remember, whenever you come across magnetic moment, you should think of angular momentum. In many cases, use of angular momentum and magnetic moment ratio makes solution very simple. Vikram?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Next time you should not have this issue. Okay, next question. Angular momentum excited will be 4 times the angular momentum in the ground state. Next question. So again, this question, as soon as you finish, please raise your hand. Dhanshi, you have an answer? Or previous question?
For this one.
For this one, you have an answer? Very good. Have you solved this before, this question?
No, sir, but I'm assuming it's something
Okay,
related to what
let's
we
see
did
that.
yesterday.
So see, again, by the time other people answer, check your assumption again. See their assumption is valid or not. Pritam? Pranav Soma? No,
Sir, is it 15, sir?
Hmm?
15.
No, see, first of all, before more than answer, I'm initially more interested in your thinking process.
Yes,
So
sir.
one by one, we have to see, answer is one part. We have to be sure that our way of thinking is correct. So what
Sir,
does 5 dark lines mean? What is the information I can draw from here? So this is important part. See,
Dark
when we solve
lines.
this question, we need to sometimes find a meaning of information given. 5 dark lines are observed. What does this mean? Can you tell me what does this mean? 5 dark lines means what? Why those 5 dark lines are seen?
Sir, I think 5 dark lines means n is equals to 6.
N is equal to 6. Why is that so? Correct. Highest value of n, which electron has been excited. This information contains. So if you have one dark line, only one dark line means it has absorbed photon and it has moved from n is equal to 1 to 2. If 2 lines are absorbed with the 2 dark lines, it means from 1 to 2 as well as 1 to 3. So 5 dark line means the highest level to which electrons have been excited to is equal to 6. That's what 5 dark line means. So if I look at in terms of figure this question, yeah, so this one, this n is equal to 6. And if it is excited to n is equal to 6, what is the number of emission lines? In emission spectrum, we see 6 C2 lines when it comes back, emission is. This is absorption and this is emission. Emission will be 6 C2. And what is 6 C2 equal to? So what is the answer rest of you had? Jadeep, are you clear now?
Yes, sir.
Dhanshi, what was the answer you were getting?
15, sir. Same thing.
Same one. So are you clear why we get 6 and all? And you can turn into figure also. Easy question. You can all. Yes, Ahlad, you have some query?
Sir, while in absorption spectrum, sir, we don't consider the. I mean, for example, if it goes to second excited state,
Very
we
good.
don't.
I'm hoping that somebody will ask this question. Good, you asked. I have understood. I think just let me repeat what you're saying now. See, absorption spectrum is something like this. I will look at the next figure. See, this absorption spectrum is reverse of this. You see what he's saying now. Just tell me if I'm saying what I'm assuming the correct thing. So initially you have some all electrons which are in the ground state. Okay. So it receives, see, one of the electron, it receives a photon which is having energy of 10.2. It gets excited to n is equal to 2. And as soon as it gets to, can it not receive another photon which has energy of 1.9 and from it goes from 2 to 3? Is that possible? So is it possible for electron to get to excited state and again receive one more photon and go to next higher state? Actually, this to succeed, this is not possible. In normal course, this is not possible. Think of a reason why it is not possible. So it is not possible for an electron to receive or absorb another photon when it is in excited state. Can somebody give me a reason why would that not happen? Can you think of some reason? So when it can receive, it remains in the ground state for a long period of time. Everything is in the ground state initially. So why can't electron which has been excited, why can't it receive one more photon which has energy corresponding to the energy gap and get to next higher level? Can anyone think of reason why this can't happen? Anyone?
So from the second state to the first state, it takes a very small amount of time.
Very small amount of time. That's the right answer. Why doesn't it stop? It remains for negligible time in this state. This time, how long it remains in excited state? Unless it is artificially kept in the excited state. So unless question says that through some artificial means, we maintain them in the excited state, if that is not mentioned, we'll assume in normal course, as soon as it gets excited, I said is not even nanosecond, actually it's much less than that also. So immediately it comes back, and within that small period, negligible time duration that is in the excited state, the possibility of receiving another photon is taken as 0. Ahlad, have you understood this explanation?
Yes, sir.
So that's the reason, because it is the time it spends in the excited state is close to 0. So it cannot, so for an electron to receive or absorb another photon when the excited state is not taken to be possible in normal course. So what has happened in previous case, if I look at the previous question, 5 dark lines were observed. What were the 5 dark lines? One dark line was corresponding to 1 into 2, second line is corresponding to 2 to 3, and third was 3 to 4, fourth one and fifth one. So electrons, what the 5 dark lines were corresponding to excitation to second level. Some electrons will go to third level, some will go to fourth level, some will go to fifth level, some will go to sixth level. And what will the corresponding energy absorption? And energy absorption will be difference between these two. So all energy absorbed will match the radiation related to Lyman series. So that's another point we can understand. I hope this point is clear. So which 5 dark lines, what will be the energy level of these 5 dark lines? All 5 dark lines energy levels will match with what? Match with emission spectrum of which then? Emission spectrum of Lyman series. All are getting excited from which level? They're all getting excited from ground level. So all 5 lines for dipole will match emission spectrum of Lyman series. Yes, Vignesh?
So why are we taking the dark lines like only transitions from 1 to 2 and then 1 to 3? Why can't it be like 1 to 5 in the beginning?
No, I'm saying, see, there are a number of hydrogen atoms. And so photons which are coming, let's say, just what is the energy of photon? So if we say a beam of contains various energy. So we have to assume what are the photons here? Why we are not getting 6 lines? Tell me why we are not getting 6 lines? Why only 5 lines? And so suppose, just understand here. So suppose I have photons which has energy ranging from 0 electron volts to 10.3 electron volts. This radiation I have. If I send all the photons, I am sending photons from here which have energy little greater than 0 and maximum. So minimum energy is slightly greater than 0 and maximum energy is equal to 10.3. I have counted how many photons I have sent from here. And as it passes to hydrogen atom, again I check. So whatever photons which have started from here with the energy of 0.1 electron volt, all photons will reach here. Why they will reach here? All photons of energy 0.1 electron. Why would they reach here?
They're not absorbed by the.
They're not absorbed. So what I find here, if I check all the energy levels of photon which have passed through, I find only some photons missing. That's called absorption. Which photons will be missing? Only 10.2 will be missing. So only 10.2 will be missing. So what happens then? What I do? Then I increase the energy level further, not 10.2. So if I have something just like looking at that. So if rather than using 10.2, if I use photon which have energy little greater than 13.6 minus 1.5, which is equal to 12.1. So if I use energy something like 12.2, what will happen if I use energy of photons at 12.2? Anyone understand what will happen if I use energy which is 12.2? I'll find only two types of photon missing. Which 2 photons will be missing? 10.2, and the next one will be 13.6 minus. Sorry, 13.6 minus what is the energy level? I just 1.5. Are you understand why only these 2 will be missing?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Understood. So is that clear? Absolutely clear. Is still some doubt?
No doubt, sir.
No doubt. So basically, so if I ask this question slightly different way, I can ask this question also: what was the maximum energy possible in incident photons. What are the maximum energy of incident photon? Can you answer what is the maximum possible energy of incident photon beam? What is the maximum? How would you calculate maximum possible energy incident photon incident beam? What was the maximum possible energy?
6th level minus 1st level energy.
That will be maximum or more than different from that? Maximum possible mass.
Maximum, right?
Yeah, it will be slightly less than 7th level. Am I getting the point here? What is the maximum energy? Maximum energy, it is something, it is less than energy gap between 7th and 1st stage. Are you clear about this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope some of you followed the discussion. Yes, Ahlad, some question you have?
So what if the 10.2 energy photons are missing, sir? Like what if we take from 10.3 to some 13.6 electron volts? Still we'll get
So
on.
basically what we are assuming here, see, this is something. So basically, okay. So let's see what will happen. Suppose we can have various variation of question. If I say the beam, what we use, there's a beam of light, and beam has photons of energy ranging from 10.3 electron volts to, it has say 12 electron volts. If I use this beam, and so what does this beam mean? I have several photons which have energy of 13.3, 10.3, several photons which are 10.4, and so on and so forth. Continuous spectrum. So continuous spectrum form, but nothing less than 10.3, nothing more than 12. If I use this beam, and this beam is passed through a sample of hydrogen atoms, which photons will be absorbed here? Is there any difficulty in answering that question? Which photon will be absorbed? Which photon will be absorbed? Can someone answer this question?
10.3 electron.
Yeah, that's all. So any, see, if you understand the basic, every question can be answered. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. So this question, all of you just go through this part. What is F1? Just all of you just go through, and again, please solve the question. And this time I would like to see at least 20 hands. And all those who solve, please raise your hand so that I also feel that people have understood. This is not difficult questions. So as soon as you're done, please raise your hand. So Advait, your hand was up quite quickly. Have you solved it properly, Advait?
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Kaushik, good. Oh, Tejas also. Tejas, Tejas, have you solved it properly? Have you understood this question?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, 6 square people. Other. So I'm happy to see Tejas' hand also, and okay, Kaushik as well. Where is Preeta missing? Where are other people? Panita missing. Brinda to Shadan, these people don't raise the hand. Kevin, are you able to solve this question? Lakshita? Lakshita?
Yes, all got it, sir.
Actually, this question is nothing to be done. Very quick. Okay. Do you have an answer, Lakshita? Have you understood how to solve? Lakshita?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, I'm having, yes, sir, I'm having actually connectivity problems today.
Otherwise,
so.
are you clear now? So basically, what is important is that Pranav Soma?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is an easy question. So if you have two terms, and many times, if we better understanding, if we have a figure like this, is easy to spot. What is F1? F1 frequency, we can identify frequency in terms of delta E. Right? So what is F1 equal to? So let's look at that. What is F1 is? F1 is frequency of the series limit of the Lyman series. What is the series limit? In Lyman series, maximum energy. So what will the energy be maximum when transition is from infinity to 1? So this is F1. From infinity to 1 is F1. And F2 is the frequency of the first line of the Lyman series. So this one is F1, this energy gap. And this energy gap is F2. And this is the first line, and F3 is the frequency series limit of Balmer. So what is F3? This gap is F3. So this is pretty simple, easy. So this energy corresponding to F1 is equal to sum of energy corresponding to F2 and F3. So that's the answer. F1 is corresponding to infinity to 1, F2 is corresponding for 2 to 1, and F3 is from limited to 1. So basically, if I write energy corresponding to frequency of F1 is equal to energy corresponding to frequency F2 plus energy corresponding to F3. And we write HF1 is easy. Next question. Sorry, I think first let me lower the hands from previous question. Velocity acquired by the atom. Okay, only 2 people have raised hand. That's the rest of the film. Nishita,
Yes, sir.
any idea how to solve this question?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, how would you solve?
We can equate mv is equal to h by
Very good. So what you have to happen? We are going to use conservation of momentum. So when photon gets emitted, so a photon will have some momentum, and so momentum of rest of the atom has to be equal and opposite. So this is conservation of momentum. Photon also has a momentum. Very good, Nishita. That's the principle we need to use. Let's put in terms of equation. What is the equation here? To find momentum, I can first find out lambda. What is lambda? We can, since the answer is in terms of Rydberg constant, I'll use the formula which has wavelength in form of R. And this equation we have. So first of Lyman series in hydrogen. Hydrogen makes Z is equal to 1. And since it is Lyman series, this becomes 1 and this becomes equal to 2. So once we substitute, it becomes 3R by 4 is lambda. And once we have the lambda, we have the momentum of the photon. So momentum, conservation of momentum. This is the momentum of the atom has to be equal to momentum of the photon. So this is momentum of atom. And we are just equating the magnitude. In terms of sign, there will be an opposite in direction. So momentum of atom is equal to momentum of photon. And momentum of photon is h by lambda. Vikram?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood it now?
Yes, sir.
But why did you not solve on your own before
Sir,
I
I solved it actually. That hand didn't go up, sir.
Acha, your hand is slow, eh? Okay, sometimes it happens. You raise your hand, it goes up very slowly. Okay. Okay, as long as, but is that clear? Absolutely clear?
Yes, sir. It's absolutely clear.
Okay, perfect. That's what is necessary. And the rest of the people also, you can ask very simple question. Next one. This is what we discussed yesterday. What is the minimum kinetic energy required of moving hydrogen atom? Shreya?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall something? Can you answer this particular question? What it says here, they're moving hydrogen atom. There's a moving hydrogen atom here. There's one hydrogen atom, and there's another hydrogen atom. Moving hydrogen atom, it means one is at rest, one is moving velocity, some velocity v. And it's a collision with a stationary hydrogen atom. Before collision, both the atoms are the ground state. After collision, they move together. If they move together, means what kind of collision? Is perfectly inelastic collision. In this case, what is asking, what must have been the minimum kinetic and what is the minimum kinetic energy of this atom? How do you find minimum energy of this atom? What has to be minimum energy? We had discussed something yesterday. Is that understood not? Why there should be minimum energy? And what should be the answer here? Shreya, do you recall?
Yes, sir.
So let's say it has kinetic energy equal to, say, suppose the kinetic energy is equal to 16 electron volts. If they stick together, what will be the kinetic energy of the combined mass after inelastic collision? It is already given. Both of them suffer inelastic collision. So if this atom had a kinetic energy of 16 electron volts, if both of them stick together, which means inelastic collision, which means E is equal to 0, what will the kinetic energy of combined mass? Can you tell me what will the kinetic energy after the collision? Are this energy and this energy, are they related here? Shreya, I don't recall.
Should be 10.2 electron.
No, that's not correct. So if this has energy 16 electron volt, what will be the energy if at all? See, in case of perfectly inelastic collision between two equal masses, what is this category of question it falls into? If I use the word, what kind of collision will they stick together? And two things are there. It's a perfectly inelastic collision between two equal masses. And whenever there's perfectly inelastic collision, there's definitely loss of kinetic energy. And loss of kinetic energy is maximum when it is perfectly inelastic collision. So this type of question is perfectly inelastic collision between two equal masses. Why two equal masses? Both are hydrogen, between two hydrogen. Between two equal masses. And whenever there's a inelastic collision, there's a loss of energy. There's a loss of kinetic energy. So what is the loss of kinetic energy whenever there's two equal masses? Well, the loss of kinetic energy is equal to, we can easily calculate that comes to half that initial energy. So when half the energy is lost, then that's a property of inelastic collision. Very easily we can calculate between two equal masses. So whatever kinetic energy had, half that gets lost. But in case of two atoms having inelastic collision, if this kinetic energy is lost, this energy has to go in some other form. Where would this kinetic energy can go? When there are only two atoms present? Only in terms it can go in form of excitation of electron. It can only be transferred to orbiting electron. So what has to happen for this kind of collision to take place? Delta K by 2 has to be equal to excitation energy. Then only this kind of collision will take place. K by 2 has to be equal to delta E, which is equal to excitation energy. So when we say minimum kinetic energy, the delta T has to be minimum. What is the minimum excitation energy required? Minimum excitation energy is equal to 10.2. which basically means minimum kinetic energy of hydrogen atom here has to be equal to 20.4. Then only if it is less than 20.4, this kind of collision cannot take place. This is improbable. This won't happen. Shreya, is that understood? Because it means yesterday it was not clear. Is that understood a little bit better today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And some of you, those who are little interested, think of other variations. What happens if it's little more than 10.2? What happens? It has to be perfectly matching with delta E by 2. Then only it will happen. Right? So only certain kind of energy. Next question.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, in the previous question, how do we find the maximum wavelength? So we have to take the ionization energy, right?
Maximum wavelength. See what it's saying here. This kind of collision takes place. So what has to happen? K by 2 has to be equal to delta E. What are the possible values of delta E? Minimum delta E is 10.2. So corresponding to this, when it gets excited, it will come back to the ground state. So if it gets excited, if K by 2 is perfectly matching with energy gap between 1 and 2, it will be 10.2. What if K by 2 is matching with 1 to 3? In that case, it will emit photon which will have energy equal to transition from 3 to 1. Where is the wavelength? Maximum wavelength. Maximum wavelength will correspond to only this. So what is the maximum wavelength equal to here? Maximum wavelength will correspond to smallest wavelength. No? What is the smallest wavelength in transition? Tell me. So largest wavelength, this is the condition. What is the smallest wavelength? Smaller wavelength delta
ionization energy.
It will be equal to from lambda to infinity to 1, equal to ionization energy. That's the answer. Have you understood maximum also, minimum also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all will correspond to Lyman series only.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, it's also possible that both the electrons, like in both the hydrogen atoms, get excited, right?
Yes, it is possible. In that case, what has to be the energy this must have? For both, what is the minimum energy for both hydrogen atom to get excited, theoretically?
Twice the energy we got right now.
So but it has to be 10.2 into 4. Right? Loss of kinetic,
Yes,
see, key point here is perfectly inelastic collision between two equal masses. Loss of energy in kinetic energy is equal to half the initial kinetic energy, only when one is at rest. So partly you need to understand collision concept. Nishita, have you followed what he did this type of question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next question. This we had done a similar question yesterday, so I expect all of you just spend 2 minutes and try to get an answer yourself. We had done an exactly similar question yesterday, so those who are revising things properly, those who are understanding things properly should be able to answer. So think in your mind, if we change the reference level, so we have done to change potential energy. Difference in potential energy is independent of choice of reference. This question involves changing the reference point for potential energy. We have done yesterday. Make sure you do it properly yourself. It improves your understanding of potential energy as well. We did something like this. L is equal to 1 is equal to 2. This is the total energy. So this is the potential energy and this is the kinetic energy. This potential energy, based on what reference? This potential energy is 0 at infinity, that base reference. So what is saying next level, if we assume it is 0 at n is equal to 1, then what will happen? That's the table. You need this part of table. We have done yesterday. So this part of things also you should be able to work out for any level. I hope all of you can do that. This part is easy. We understand based on this reference, this is total energy. Potential energy is twice of the same sign. Kinetic energy yesterday, sorry, I didn't correct. Yesterday I also made this error here. I didn't copy properly. So kinetic energy is same value, opposite sign. So when we take potential energy, if we change the reference, this potential energy becomes 0 and this becomes x. What has to happen? This minus this has to be equal to this minus this. And after calculating potential energy, kinetic energy will not change. So this plus kinetic energy, this, if we take the sum of the two, this becomes total energy. So that's what the question is. So all of you should be able to solve that question. Next one. So stopping potential. So basically saying there are two different transition. Which are the two different transition? One is from 5 to 4 and second is from 4 to 3. Which transition will contain greater energy? Will 5 to 4 contain greater energy, or will 4 to 3 will contain greater energy? Pranav, can you answer me? Which transition will contain greater energy, Pranav? Pranav?
4 to 3.
4 to 3 will contain greater energy. So first we identify here, this will contain greater energy. So 4 to 3 will have higher frequency and it will have lower wavelength. So question is pertaining to which transition. This is not related to this. When I have to find the stopping potential, the stopping potential depends on kinetic energy of say if stopping potential depends on the energy of the photon. So which energy we need to take? We need to take photon energy corresponding to 4 to 3 transition. Okay, then becomes simple. So delta E will take corresponding to shorter wavelength. Final n is equal to okay. So this is 3 and this is 4. And when we substitute, we get this value z is equal to 3. We substitute here, it comes equal to 5.95. And if stopping potential is 3.95, it means work function is equal to 2. Let me ask another question, a similar question. So suppose you have again we are mixing two things together, emission from atoms and photoelectric effect. Suppose we have a material which has work function of 2 electron volts, and we have radiations. 2 radiations are falling onto this. What are the 2 radiation? One radiation has a energy of 3 electron volts and second radiation is 4 electron volts. So both of only 2 did. So it is not one, is not monochromatic. There are 2 monochromatic incidents here. There are 2 different wavelengths. So if this falls into this, what would be the stopping potential here? So if 2 radiations fall onto a metal plate, what would be the stopping potential? What would be the stopping potential here in this case? Kaushik, can you tell me what will be the stopping potential if 2 radiations are falling? Kaushik? Not clear? Jaideep?
Yes, sir.
What will be the stopping potential if 2 different radiations are falling on a plate here, metal plate?
2 volts.
Why 2 volts? Why not 1 volt? And again,
2 volt
stopping
could be
potential
stopping
depends
both
on, yeah, so this will, see, this radiation will lead to maximum kinetic energy equal to 1 electron. So if I apply a potential of a stopping potential of 1 electron volt, only those electrons which are emitted by this photon will reach. Electrons, the photoelectrons emitted by this radiation will not reach. So anything between more than 1. So whenever we calculate stopping potential, it should always correspond to which photons? Highest energy photon. So if there's a mix of photon, if we have to calculate a stopping potential, the stopping potential corresponds to most energetic photon. Next question. And this also, some of the people, you should be able to answer this question even without any calculation. It's so simple. So from this information, can we, yes, Elad, you have some good doubt? Elad, doubt or answer? So excited hydrogen like ion. So it is not Z is equal to 1. From this information, can we easily figure out what is the value of Z, N value, or what is value of Z? It's easy to figure out what is excitation energy to first excited state. Excitation energy for hydrogen atom to first excited state is equal to 10.2. And if it is, yes, Vignesh?
No doubt, sir.
No doubt. So we can easily figure out Z has to be equal to 2. So everything corresponding value for Z is equal to 2, it will become 4 times, Z is equal to 2, it will become 9 times. So since this value is 4 times minimum excitation required for hydrogen, clearly it indicates Z value is 2. Once we have Z value of 2, we have easy answer then. Energy needed to remove electron when Z value is 2. Even ionization energy also will be 4 times. So ionization energy, okay, to remove the electron from ion the ground state, this is nothing but ionization energy. Ionization energy also will be 4 times ionization energy required for hydrogen atom. So the answer is 44 into 13.6. This is one of the main questions. I think previous one also, this is also past main question. So see whether you can solve this question now. Anyone having answer? Yes, Vignesh, which option?
Straight line, sir, with slope 4.
Oh, very good. So it has taken less than a minute to answer. Is it not? It's a very simple question. It's a mains question 2019. And you notice many questions can be solved in less than a minute if you are clear. What should happen? Moment you read the question, the method of solving question should come to your mind. If method is clear, you will solve faster and you will have better accuracy. So rest of people also, how do you get an answer?
Sir, it should be a single point, right?
No.
Because A11 is constant.
No, it's not actually 11. Sorry, some of you are not. It's this is a n value. This is n value. This
Yes.
n. It looks like 11. No, but it's different way. This is n. Okay, a n by 1. It's a variable here, and that's why we get a line. Okay, those who thought it's 11, just please redo it for n and it's equal to 1 and then solve it. Advait, do you have an answer?
Working on it, sir.
Working on it. So, has any idea coming to your mind? How would you solve?
Yes, sir. Just take the areas.
Area.
And
So
radius.
basically, okay, area. Just here to write the radius and calculate the area, or is a ratio kind of question?
It's a ratio kind of question, sir.
No, so we don't have to calculate. So basically, we need to find the ratio. How does area varies with which parameter? I have to find A as proportional to which parameter here. I have to write, this is the kind of relationship I need here. How does A vary with N? That's what the question is. Are you getting Advait?
Yes, sir.
Whenever it's a question, we need to look at which two parameters or which few parameters are related in kind of ratio kind of relationship. So if a moment I can express A n as a function of n, my question is solved. So can I write A as a function of n? Yes. Those still do not have, it's ratio kind of question. What is area enclosed by the orbit? Enclosed by orbit is proportional to r square and r is proportional to l square. So it means area is proportional to n to power 4. So that's all we need. So first of all, I hope all of you slowly learn this one. There are few questions every year. We'll find few questions which are based on ratio kind of question. We don't have to find the value ratio in the question. We need to look at the parameters which are varying. We need to find a relationship between the parameters in terms of proportionality. So since the question is area enclosed, area is proportional to the square of the radius. And why I'm writing radius, we know how radius varies with n. Radius varies as square of n, and since it's square, n to power 4. So I got a relation is A is proportional to n to power 4. Now it's easy. So how it becomes easy? What is an by a1 is equal to n4 by 1 4. And then we take log of both sides, because this question is log of both sides. When you take log of both sides, we get an answer. So what is this plotted as? Okay, this term, what is plot? This term is taken as x, and this is taken as y. And this is what this is what equivalent to y is equal to mx, slope is equal to 4. So I hope all are understood.
So how do you know which one is x and which one is y, sir?
Yes, but this particular question, I was hoping that you will ask this question, but do we need to know in this question? Given the options, what we have.
The options, it's not necessary.
Yes, no, otherwise your question is valid. But this is something which is plotted, which is the x-axis, y-axis. This question is slightly incomplete, but given the options which are there, that's why don't always look at the option. And our objective is to identify the answer. And given the options what we have, there was no difficulty. And so don't get into which is x and y, because had there been one more option, a straight line with the slope of 1/4, then I need to know which is x and which is y, and which is not clear in the question. So given information and given option, it is adequate information given to find an answer without any ambiguity. All are understood, all are clear? Anish?
Yes, sir. I got it.
All questions we have done so far, you can solve?
Yes, sir, you can.
No problem. Okay. And that's what our goal should be. So, so when you write examination, anything what you've done, this first of all, this topic doesn't have any complex concept. All questions which have been done, a similar question, you should be able to solve correctly. Next question is similar to previous one. Which option, Vignesh?
Sir, I got the first option.
First option. Okay, if it is single correct, you don't have to check other option. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
if it is
sir.
multi-correct, then you have to check all. Is it not?
Yes.
But if it is single correct, if first option matches, you don't have to bother about rest. Okay, so I see more people, and very similar to previous question. So all I need to do, I need to express all these terms in terms of proportional, which power of n they are proportional to. So if you do so, it's very easy. Okay, so sorry, this I think I didn't write here. Okay, sorry, I didn't write, but I think this method is very similar. Morse model. R is proportional to this. What is V proportional to? E proportional to. So easily you can work it out. So this also similar question, easily you can get an answer. It's also a similar question. So which of the following statements are correct? Again, similar way. R, L, N. How is angular momentum related to n? So all proportion. Angular momentum is proportional to n. What is orbital radius is proportional to? N square. How do you find what is time period proportional to? Time period of also we need to find. This is the term. And what is time proportional to? Time is, yes, 2 pi r. Time is equal to, is proportional to r by v. And then we substitute both these terms here.
N cube.
N cube. So this is something, and we can easily find an answer. R is proportional to n square, L is proportional to n, T is proportional to r by v, which is proportional to n cube, and then we can easily substitute and get an answer. So these are very easy ways of calculation of any quantity which is dependent on r and v. So knowing this proportion for r, v is enough. Just r, v. Even L also not necessary, because L is very easy because it's given in form of Bose postulate itself. So all such quantities which are a function of radius and velocity, we can easily calculate the ratio to get an answer. The last question for today's session. And for some of those, you notice here initial state. Okay, initial state itself is not in the ground state. So this is a hypothetical question. Hypothetical means yes, it is possible to through some scientific way we can initially keep all hydrogen atoms excited. So it is already excited state. It is maintained in the excited state. So you may come across some questions where initially all the atoms are not necessarily in the ground state. It is possible, it is clear here, this initially itself they kept in the excited state. That's what you need to find. What are the initial state? What are the final state? When it absorbs radiation, it will move to a higher state. So there was initially a lower state and then it moves to a higher state. Yes, Arish, you have an answer?
Yes, sir.
Today you're getting very quickly you're getting answers, Arish. So I think you're finding this topic easy, which is good. Which option you have, Arish?
I'm getting n equals 4.
But this can be more than one correct option. This is not single correct option. Choose correct alternatives, which means that if you get first option, don't stop there. You check whether other options also correct. Understood what I'm saying? Because this is correct alternatives here, multi-correct question. So can you find other answers as well? But this is easy to identify. Why n is equal to 4? Because if total number of radiations are always equal to depend on the NC2. It depends on the final state of excitation. So 6 clearly indicates after absorbing this wavelength, after absorbing this energy, it moves to, so first is the number of radiation, NC2 by 6. That gives you NF, the final orbital, it moves to this level. But question is now, other parts we need to find out before it moved to this level after excitation, which level was it? That we have to find out based on this condition. 2 wavelengths it will emit when it goes to n is equal to 6, n is 4. There are 6 different delta E. There are 6 different delta E and thus there are 6 different wavelengths. But what is given here, 2 wavelengths are longer than lambda naught. How do we use this information?
Only it goes 2 states above.
Not necessarily. Final excited state is easy. Final state is 4. Now let's look at if initial state was 3, what would have happened? The initial state meant 3. So this is the corresponding to delta E, this energy wavelength. So if the initial state is 3, one of all the, it will emit how many? 6 wavelengths. Out of 6, one wavelength will be equal to lambda naught. Rest all wavelengths will be shorter. Are we clear? Rest all energy, rest all delta E are larger than this delta E. So if initial state 3, one wavelength will be equal to wavelength of lambda naught and others will be shorter. So just check the energy difference here. So if this was 3, but which is not matching. So this initial state cannot be 3. What if initial state was 2? If this was 2, let's understand what does it mean. It means energy it has absorbed is this. This is the excitation energy it has received. So lambda naught corresponds to this energy gap here. When it comes back here, there are several transitions. This transition will have energy gap lesser than this. So this transition will have wavelength less than lambda naught. This transition will have equal it is not talking about. But even this transition also will have a wavelength less than lambda naught. Just check every other transition will be, this transition will be, I'm writing it other way. This will be greater than lambda naught, this will be greater than lambda naught. Rest all will be one will be equal, rest all will be greater than lambda naught. So this question is not from formula. This question is for basically logically you have to figure out which options are correct.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, what does the fourth option imply, sir?
Out of 6 transitions, how many transitions there? How many transitions? You are having 6 wavelengths. How many are in the Lyman series out of those 6?
3 only, right? So 4 to 1, 3 to 1, and 2 to 1.
Yes. How many are there? 3 are there in the Lyman series. Is it not easy to figure out?
Yes.
This is a good question. This is something which will test your logical skills. So those who are not understood, please try and understand yourself. If not, again, ask me again. If some of you are doubt, please ask me in the next session. Okay. So I'll stop here. I think the time is up.